So I was watching Optimus, and today he released a video on complacency, and he talked about it, really in depth, and it made complete sense to me, to the point where I'm not gonna lie, I almost kind of broke for a second, because it was like he was speaking directly to me. The video was such an obvious wake up kind of thing that I wanted to make a video about that video and take notes on what he was saying and then relate it to what I'm feeling. But the thing is, on the 14th, before I even knew what complacency was, I had made a recording that was just stream of consciousness, and it was basically explaining the same sort of thing, just going in a different direction. And I just thought that was interesting, that we basically had the same thought at the same time, give or take a few days. He just explained it a lot better. So anyway, here's that. So I just got a call from a friend of mine, and he wants to meet up, because what he does is he kind of gives me updates periodically, just as any friend would do, really. It's honestly nice. It's interesting to see that someone in my life that I know still cares in some way. He's doing all these things. He's obviously moving up in his life, and it's like, man, I've done fuck all. During high school, I felt genuinely like nothing, and I mean that in every sense of the word. I felt like I was physically non-existent, and also self-worth, it was beyond zero. But it was at a point where it was such a horrible neutral that I think I broke my brain or something, because I have zero motivation to do anything, and it's like there's only the motivation to stop the misery, and I don't know how to do that at all. It's like talking to him, it's like I'm realizing that I'm doing nothing at all. My whole life revolves currently around watching videos and then waking up the next day to do it again. There's nothing I do. And again, with the thing is I need drastic change to happen for me to get out of this horrible cycle. It's so hard for me to not think that I can't do anything. I think of living in the city. I think of living on my own. Every scenario is negative. It's all leading down the path of either ending it or being so horribly miserable for the entirety of my life. And without therapy, which I don't think is even an option, it's really hard to get out of the cycle. I believe I can. I just need to figure out how. I'm going to try to explain my mentality from a third person perspective. Well, from outside of my head, if that's even possible. My mentality is deep rooted in self-hatred. It's so circular what I live, and I'm really, really afraid to invoke change. It's like I'm comfortable being miserable, and I don't want that, but that's where I'm at. At least I think that's what it is. And maybe I've known the solution all along, invoking change, but why don't I want to invoke change? Why don't I want to escape this? In the same sense that I do, I know that, times that I've tried, at least in my head, it just hasn't worked. And even now talking, I can't name a single actual example of this. This whole thing is it's making me realize that at the moment I was most likely to end it, I genuinely saw that as a solution. And with the way my brain's been working, it's been a solution. It's been the only solution. My entire mentality is built off of uncertainty, but dreading the things that cause the uncertainty. There's moments where I wake up out of the permanent head fog that I've created, but it's only for a moment, 5 minutes at most, maybe. And in those 5 minutes, I'm awake. There's no confusion. There's only certainty. But no matter what I do, I get sucked directly back into it. And then I'm just as I am now, but with less self-awareness. I keep saying I have no idea what I can do to change this, but I think I know exactly how to change this. And that is change. That is going out and trying things. That is making new friends. That is forcing myself to become someone. I don't know why I've sat here for so long. I don't know why I've been here so long. 3 years since 2020. That's when I thought I was going to get it together. And I haven't tried. Okay, here's a story. From an early age, I wanted to be, I think, either a firefighter or a police officer or both. As far as I can remember, that's all I've ever wanted to be. And this is, talking probably before middle school and during middle school, where when people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a police officer. And what I ended up realizing was that there was 0 point, a reason why I wanted to be that. It was just like a default answer. There was never anything I felt strongly about. There's these crazy successful people like Mr. Beast who talk about you must be obsessive over what you care about. I never had that one thing I cared about. I've been in band my whole life. It's fun, but I never really had motivation to practice unless there was like a recital coming up, and even then it was like dreadful to put effort in. I don't know if that's a lack of discipline or if I'm just so bored with it. Because playing trumpet is genuinely easy to me. Like I practice for 5 minutes, I'll learn the entire song. I was just never genuinely that interested in it. I was just in there because other people were in there. I remember we went on this field trip, and it was to the high school I was supposed to go to. Because there are two rivaling high schools, but they're all basically the exact same distance. Just one's the main one that's massive and has a horrible reputation for like gang violence and like murders, and I was horrified of going there. And then there's the other one, and I heard that it was a nice, smaller one, much better for people who live where I live. So we went on this field trip, and it was to the bigger high school that the district wanted me to go to. And I don't remember basically any of it other than the very, I think, last part of it, where the high schoolers were in a circle. There's probably like 30 of them, and what you're told to do is go around and talk to each of them. And they're going to ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would tell them I don't know. I would tell them police officer. I would tell them all sorts of things until the final one, just without any weight to it, without thinking. And this is solely because I didn't know what I wanted to do. They asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to kill myself. And now thinking about it now, it's like, I think that mentality is sort of significant in that I had zero idea of what I wanted to do. As long as I've existed, there's been this disconnect in my head where, just general disconnect really, whether it's where I feel like I can control my emotions completely. It's hard to describe because I'm like, I can't really remember what I thought, but what I'm sort of remembering is that I would never really connect with people unless I actively went out of my way to do so. Because I just didn't care. Like there was no connection between me and another person in my mind. It was just there. Like I would rather have friends, but there was zero connection ever. For example, one of the ways I would make friends is I would just go up to a random person and talk to them without worry for social repercussion, without worry for literally like anything. Like if they don't like me, then I don't care. Oh yeah, especially if I saw them not being talked to by other people, I would just talk to them and make friends with them that way. What I'm trying to convey is that there's some sort of disconnect between people and me. I live in the disconnect now. I'm always inclined to say I don't know how to escape it, but it is extremely difficult to escape it. I don't know why I was even telling you these stories now. I think it was just to tell you, to maybe attempt to make you understand that I've never been connected with anyone, and that, in my opinion, may have led to where I'm at now. And I think it did. There's a lot to say that I don't yet know how to get out of my head, unless I happen to be focusing on it at that moment, and I'm able to articulate what I'm saying properly. I very much wonder why I'm different. Outside of the depression that I often talk about and feel, it's not usually that, if I'm being fully honest. I think it's usually me living in the disconnect. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. Non-standard. That's how I feel.